What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. A lengthy script today. Quite lengthy. It's the ACC's fault for having 17 damn teams. Well, we got the NFC North season preview, as well as the ACC season preview. But a lot of news going on as well, and we have football back. We had a game last night. The Hall of Fame game. Chargers rocking the Lions 34-7. And the Lions have an issue, man. They do not have at least after one game, backup quarterback. I mean, Kyle Allen was atrocious, and he made plenty of throws that a guy with his amount of experience could not have made. The interception by Nico Reed was very late, way too late on an out route. You can't expect to throw that ball and not get it picked off, or at least defended against. I don't remember the other interception, but I believe that one was late as well. And the issue is Hendon Hooker didn't play that well either. He had 18 yards there. I forgot to put that in there. But it wasn't good from him either. I was kind of surprised that Allen got the start. I thought Hooker was going to get the start because he was the backup for most of the year last year. But they brought in Allen this season. So we'll see. But it is not looking good so far for the Detroit backup QBs. On the other side, LA's QBs looked fantastic. Trey Lance, DJU was okay. He didn't get a lot of throws. Didn't have a lot of work in there because Trey Lance played 3 quarters. And Trey Lance was amazing. He was spectacular. You saw the touch and anticipation that you want from a guy in his third year, which he is. Miraculously, it's only his third team, 4th year. Yeah, I think it's 4th year. I think he was drafted in 21 or 22. Yeah. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyways, he's still young for being on his third team. And it finally looked like it was coming together. So we'll see if that can continue and he can win the backup job. We didn't see the other guy that is fighting for that job. Taylor Heineke is the other person that is competing against Trey Lance for the number 2 spot behind Justin Herbert. So we'll see. We'll see if that that level of play continues or not.
Yeah, I mean, I watched thoroughly the first half. I kind of watched on and on the second half. It's a Hall of Fame game. It's more of an exhibition, fun exhibition than anything else. But I think what stood out to me, really, I think your concern about Detroit's backup quarterbacks, I think I kind of espouse to the rest of the roster. I think the depth in general in Detroit doesn't look great. And I know it's one game, so I'm going to put the caveat and everything I say about this game. It's a Hall of Fame game. It's late July, whatever. But, there wasn't a Detroit Lion in this entire game that genuinely made me go, oh, he looks solid. Oh, he looks like a solid rotational piece. I mean, the first play of the game was a, fumbled kick return. That was probably concerning.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Chargers' depth looked really good. This looks like a hardball team. Tries every play, full bought in on everyone. I also think there was a lot of growing pains with Detroit when it comes to 2 new coordinators. I think not everything was meshed well, which is fine. Again, it's July. You're not gonna mesh perfectly in the glorified preseason game. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what stood out to me. Harbaugh's got his guys, really amped up very early. Hopefully, they can keep that going. Detroit, there's a lot of growing pains. You probably have a lot of questions about your depth, not just at quarterback, but everywhere else. And you're going to have to lock in with these new coordinators, especially with the starters. But yeah, that's my big takeaway from the Hall of Fame game. Also, great to see Jared Allen, my guy, uh, Hall of Famer, classic cowboy as usual. Every time he talks, I have to laugh because he is genuinely one of the most charismatic football players I've ever seen. He's so fun. Honestly, he should be like a broadcaster on NFL Network or like a commentator because he's so natural at it. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was excited to see Eric Allen, Eagle that's going in this year. But yeah, it's just awesome to have football back, and very odd that we had football starting back in July. um, the rest of the game, though, Craig Reynolds looked pretty good, sub 4 per carry, but 10 carries, led the game in rushing, 38 yards, touchdown, 10 yards on his lone reception. Kimani Vidal for the Chargers had 2 rushing touchdowns. And I'll say first rounder Omarion Hampton looked very good. Springy, accelerated through the hole well. And if not for ridiculous tackle on the edge by Rock Yassin, Hampton would have got his first touchdown of the preseason. But we had a couple other rookies that stood out. Isaac Tesla looked really good for Detroit as well. I was surprised at how well he did. Again, like you said, backups, though, facing him. So we'll see, maybe some of the joint practices, see if he struggles against upper-level competition. But caught 2 of his 3 targets for 46 yards. Keeping the rookie theme going. Keandre Lambert-Smith for the Chargers led the game in receiving for them. Caught both of his targets for 43 yards and a touchdown. We have Will Dissly catching the touchdown. And then defensively, I'm going to go with Chargers corner Nico Reed, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass defense, then a pick. Rookie, undrafted out of Colorado.
Looking to find his spot.
Yeah. All right. Chargers cover plus 1.5, over 33.5. We'll talk about headlines. Let's talk about Micah Parsons. Yeah. So that's going down right now in Dallas. Micah Parsons officially requesting a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. And, I mean, Cowboys have no leverage. I mean, what are they going to do? Just let him sit out and not have potentially the best player and the defensive player in the NFL on their team? I mean, this shouldn't have even happened. It should have been a no-brainer to just, how much here's a blank check, Micah. Write what you want.
Well, I don't know if you've been kind of keeping up with how it developed or saw Micah Parsons. I think it was a tweet or Instagram story. He went on a tirade, and I think the biggest thing, Micah shares a agent with teammate Dak Prescott, and his agent is pretty well known. He's a pretty strong negotiator. He's a very player-friendly agent, as he should be, but he's notorious for being very difficult to negotiate with. And I think the thing Micah Parsons emphasized when it came to this situation with Dallas, he basically said to Dallas, hey, you don't negotiate with me, you negotiate with my agent. I don't want to hear anything about this. This is I want what my agent is going to get me. You would talk to him. And apparently they did not listen. They went to Micah, behind their agent's back. And Micah was like, nope, I'm not acceptable. I'm going to publicly say I want to be traded now. Which, my God, knowing who's in charge of Dallas, what are you doing, Jerry? Like, I know this is your fault. Like, I'm not beating around the bush here. I'm not trying to like, you know, give it rose tinted glasses. This is your fault, Jerry. Like, your star defensive player, probably the best player on your team. Let's be honest. Like, made a very specific request that was very reasonable. He said all contract negotiations goes through my agent and no one else. Do not talk to me. And you failed. And it's not like you didn't know this. He made it very clear. So like, this is just stupidity. Like, I'm sorry, Jerry. Like, you're done. You're go to the owner's box and hire a GM and get your fingers out of football ops, because this is probably like the last straw of a lot of fans when it comes to your operation of being the general manager of the team you own. It's unacceptable. So I'm fully in Micah Parsons' boat. You made a very reasonable request to the team, and they didn't follow through. So yeah, I'd ask for a trade. I made a very reasonable ask, and you just failed to do it. So get me out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I'm on the stand of he's one of the best, if not the best player in the NFL all overall. Definitely defensively. So yeah, I mean, and apparently it's Stephen Jones that has been handling the contract negotiations, but obviously Jerry runs everything. So yeah, I mean, 2 first-round picks plus. I know a few teams, or 31, that would do that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying the best comparison to what the trade package will probably be look at the Khalil Mack trade and then like add a first round pick or
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. I would probably say, yeah, just 2 firsts, and we can see if we can put a player in there instead of additional draft compensation, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would try. All right, let's go to UFL. Bunch of guys getting signed to training camp rosters here. The 49ers signing Showboats edge rusher Jalen Allen. Jets signed defenders guard Liam Fornadell, so he's back in the AFC East, was with the Patriots in camp last year. Lions signed Battlehawks running back Jacob Sailors. Chiefs signed Showboats wide receiver Kwame Lassiter. Patriots signing Showboats center Alec Lindstrom. Falcons signed Brahma's safety Henry Black. Broncos signed Brahma's edge rusher Garrett Nelson. The Browns signed Roughnecks corner Keenan Isaac. The Commanders, they signed defenders wide receiver Braylon Sanders, keeping him in the DMV. Steelers signed Battlehawks defense tackle Kyler Ball, and the Jags, they signed Renegades offense tackle Ricky Lee. The UFL had some big news this week. They have added billionaire and brand builder Mike Rapole. I don't know if it's Rapole or Rapoli. He's Italian, so I'm not sure. But billionaire nonetheless, to its ownership group. So not only does that give them more financial backing than it already had with Fox, ESPN, Dwayne Johnson, and Danny Garcia, and Redbird Capital. Now they get another Mr. Moneybags in. But he is also, I read up on him, he is very, very good at business. He is originally he created the company known for producing vitamin water and smart water. Sold that to Coca-Cola for $4.5 billion. And then he turned around and he made Body Armor. Co-founded Body Armor, sold that to Coca-Cola for $4 billion. And then he's also now the I think founder and CEO of Noble, the Noble brand. or he is the CEO, whatever. But yeah, so he's pretty good at building brands up, and he has actually. I looked. He actually does have a degree in sports administration from St. John's, so he's well versed in the sports world. But he will be running their business operations, something that I think that they have severely needed. They've needed someone that is business savvy to really take hold of the business ops side and get the league ingrained into the local markets, because that's what a lot of people have been saying through 2 seasons. It's like they're not attached enough to the local market. That's why they're not having these really solid attendance numbers and everything else. So we'll see. He does plan to already have 2 to 4 relocated markets. I already mentioned previous show they're going to nix the USFL conference. That's where it's leading to. So those are the 4 teams essentially that are up for grabs: Memphis, Birmingham, Michigan, and blanking on the other one. Because the XFL, you got Arlington, San Antonio, DC, and St. Louis. Oh, Houston. Houston's the other USFL one. But they already said they have one of those relocation sites ready. It's going to be Columbus. So Columbus is getting a UFL team. They're going to play at lower.com field, which is where the MLS's Columbus Crew plays. So that's the size stadium we're looking for right now is, MLS size stadiums where it's, anywhere between 10 to 20,000, I would say. Jimmy, what do how do you know like average size of capacity for like minor league MLB stadiums?
Minor league MLB, depending on the level, but I'm gonna say anywhere, like if you're talking low to high A, that could be anywhere from like 2 to 5,000. Like double A and triple A can go anywhere from like 4,000 to 10,000.
Gotcha.
Trying to hit up a game.
No. I was just gauging it because I said like 10 to 20,000 is what the UFL I think is looking for, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
but you don't want to play on a baseball field though.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just number wise,
Yeah.
because it is de facto a minor league. So, all right, NFL news. Micah Parsons is not the only one that has requested a trade. Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin also requesting a trade. So, all 3 of the big time holdouts, or now hold ins, as McLaurin and Hendrickson are doing, have requested a trade at some point this offseason. No one has gotten traded yet, but we'll see. Speaking of the Commanders, guard Nate Herbig has retired. They placed him on the reserve retire list this week. So depth hit to Washington's interior O-line there. Seahawks, they signed GM John Snyder to an extension through 2030. A 4-year extension there. So Snyder signed through the 2030 draft now. PUP activation. The Bills activating right tackle Spencer Brown off of PUP. And injuries. The lists continue to get longer every show, it seems like. This first one, I wasn't confirmed. I had just saw he heard it, but there was speculation. Browns corner Martin Emerson Jr. torn Achilles, out for the season. I don't know if that was confirmed or not. I know there was speculation that it was torn, though. So
that sucks.
Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely. He has a foot fracture. He's going to be out a few weeks. Still potentially going to be good to go for week 1, though. We'll see if that's going to be an interesting one, right? For fantasy. Isaiah Likely is supposed to take that jump this year. A lot of people think so. See where he goes in fantasy with the foot injury. Cowboys losing corner Kalen Carson, 4 to 6 weeks hyperextension on his knee. The Chiefs wide receiver Hollywood Brown. I haven't heard anything more on this, but he has a right lower leg injury. Heard it going for a ball in the end zone. Dolphins just brutal for Miami right now. Corner Kader Kohu out for the season, torn ACL. I mean, they have no corners. He was supposed to be their best one. They don't have any. They don't. They're gonna call Pittsburgh and say, "Can we trade for Ramsey back?"
Please.
The corner injuries continue to be paramount here. Bills rookie corner Maxwell Hairston, LCL sprain, out 3 weeks at least. Good news for him because there was concern that it was an ACL, but ACL is good. LCL is sprained, so out at least 3 weeks there. Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors, he's dealing with a shoulder injury, but he was back at practice, so probably nothing to worry about there. Seahawks offensive tackle Charles Cross had surgery this week to repair a dislocated finger. Should be good to go, though, by week 1. And Bucks, some concern in Tampa. QB Baker Mayfield has a right hand contusion day-to-day currently. One release to mention, the 49ers, they released wide receiver Equanimeous St. Brown. Couple of big-time extensions to big people. The Colts, they signed offensive tackle Bernard Ryman to a 4-year, $100 million extension, $6 million guaranteed there for Ryman. Very, very nice contract for him. There was some thought that maybe he wouldn't get paid because, he hasn't been elite, but he's been very good at right tackle, I believe he is for the Colts, as far as I can remember. The Raiders also signing their tackle, Colton Miller, left tackle there, to a 3-year, $66 million extension, $42.5 million guaranteed for Colton Miller, and likely keeps him in a Raiders uniform for his career. Raider for life there with Colton Miller. Couple signings, free agent signings. The Jets, they signed Titans kicker Nick Folk back in New York after a season in Tennessee. The Commanders, they signed Chiefs offensive tackle Lucas Niang. Bengals signed Seahawks tight end Noah Fant to a 1-year deal. 49ers, they signed Raiders running back Amir Abdullah and former Bills wide receiver Andy Isabella. And the Cowboys signing a familiar face today with their offensive line injuries right now. They signed former Bengals offensive tackle Lyle Collins, former first-round pick of the Cowboys as well. And a couple workouts and visits. 49ers, they worked out a couple of running backs. Dolphins running back Jeff Wilson. Jags running back Dearness Johnson. And the Chargers hosting a familiar face for a visit. Bears wide receiver Keenan Allen. Looks like that probably is going to come to fruition, and we're going to see Keenan Allen end his career as a Charger there on the field. All right, NFC North season preview here. Here's the Bears, the only team to not make the playoffs out of the division last year. 5-12 record. Um, Offensively, we got quarterback Caleb Williams, running back DeAndre Swift, wide receivers Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, Olamide Zacchaeus, tight ends Colston Loveland, the first rounder, and Cole Kmet, left tackle Braxton Jones, left guard Joe Tooney, center Drew Dahlman, right guard Jonah Jackson, and right tackle Darnell Wright. Defensively, defense tackles Devon Dexter Sr. and Grady Jarrett. Defensive ends Montez Sweat and Deo Diengbo. Linebackers TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. Corners Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson. Your nickel is Kyler Gordon. Your strong safety is Jaquan Brisker. And your free safety is Kevin Byard. Special teams wise, you got punter Torrey Taylor, kicker Cairo Santos, long snapper Scott Daly, and punt and kick returner wide receiver Devin Duvernay added this offseason. So when you look at the Bears on paper, Jimmy, I mean it's not many holes.
True. We said that last year. We did say that last year. Of course, the main difference between this year and last year is coaching. So I think that's the biggest addition of this offseason, bringing in Ben Johnson from Detroit. What you're hoping as a Bear fan is that what he brings is an ability to not only draw up creative plays for Caleb Williams, but actually, be a QB whisperer. I think that would be my biggest concern with Ben Johnson. Is not that he's a bad coach, but people may misinterpret his ability to draw up creative plays as being a QB whisperer or like a guy that makes QBs better. That being said, he's 50,000 times better than Matt Eberflus. So it's the only way to go but up. This team is also very young, and they're facing a obviously pretty decently difficult schedule and, pretty good teams, and they're pretty young. But I do expect them to get better than they were last year. I just don't know by how much. I think I'm looking at the schedule now. They have very little room to really exceed expectations, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, the roster should be good. I just think this year is going to be a lot of growing pains, and I know a lot of Bear fans are probably going to hear that and go, oh, God, not again. But it's going to be like the good kind, and I do expect a better record than last season.
Yeah. And the schedule is kind of weird, I think, because I really don't know what to think about Chicago. I am going to start off 3-1. The Vikings game is a coin flip for me. It's two good defenses, and it's JJ McCarthy as the wild card. I don't know how he's going to play. And I also don't know how much Caleb has really learned from last year, and he has to go up against one of the best defensive coordinators in the league in Brian Flores week 1, which is advantageous to Caleb, really, because, no one will have seen this Bears offense fully until the first game. So that's why I'm having them with a win. The lone loss, I have it at Detroit in that first 4 there. That one's iffy for me too, though, because the Lions secondary is still not very good. So, and again, we don't know what they're going to look like, both sides of the ball. So I have that as a loss. Win against the Cowboys, win at the Raiders. So 3-1 into the bye. I'm going to have them lose on the road at the Commanders again. The game.
Our heartbreaking last-second loss this time.
Yeah, it sent their season down the drain last year.
I remember that. That was insane.
But yeah, it's a Monday Night Football. I'm gonna have them lose that one too. So 3-2 there. They win at home against the Saints, lose at the Raiders. That's a tough one. In since I'm gonna have them lose against the Bengals. So they're 4-4 there. They win against the Giants. The Vikings get revenge though in Minnesota. So 5-5. They're gonna lose to Aaron Rodgers.
He owns them.
He
He still owns them.
It doesn't matter what team he's on.
Doesn't matter what team. Still owns them.
So that is 5-6. They're going to lose in Philly on Black Friday. 5-7. They're going to lose in Green Bay. 5-8. Win against the Browns. 6-8. I think the Bears are going to split all three in the division this year.
Home and away splits.
Yeah, home against the Packers on a Saturday. They get to 7-8. I think that is. Yeah, 7-8. They lose in San Francisco Sunday Night Football 7-9, and they win against Detroit. So I got them 8-9, 3-3 in division.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I have them going 2-2 to start. I think just this is a young team with a different coaching staff. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out. I know JJ McCarthy in week 1's a wild card, but that Viking defensive floor is just set. I mean, he just absolutely terrorized Caleb Williams last year. So I still expect it. Lions kind of the same thing. Even with their coaching staff, they're just a little bit more established roster, so they're not going to have speed bumps. But Bears can turn around, go, win the next two, go 2-2 into the bye, come out of it, lose on the road, win against the Saints 3-3, lose on the road against the Ravens and Bengals 3-5, winning at home against the Giants 4-5, lose against the Vikings 4-6. Lose against the Steelers 4-7, lose against the Eagles 4-8. I'm gonna switch it up. I think this team does well against the Packers, but I'm gonna have them beat the Packers 5-8, Browns 6-8, Packers again 7-8. But I have them losing the last two and going 7-10. I'm guessing you had them beat the Lions in week 18 because you expect the Lions to be resting guys. I don't. I think this division is going to come down to the wire like it did last year. And I think the Lions aren't really going to take their foot off the gas pedal. So 7-10. I have them going 2-4 in division, sweeping the Packers, but getting swept by the Lions and the Vikings.
Yeah, I think they're going to win one of the two against Detroit, whether that's 18 or week 2. So, all right, to the Packers. 11-6 last year, lost to the eventual Super Bowl champs in the playoffs. QBs Jordan Love, running back Josh Jacobs, wide receivers Romeo Doubs, first rounder Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed. Tight ends Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. Left tackles Rasheed Walker. Left guards Aaron Banks. Centers Elton Jenkins. Right guard Sean Ryan. Right tackle Zach Tom. Defense, nose tackles Kenny Clark. Defense tackle Devontae Wyatt. DNs are Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness. Linebackers Quay Walker and Edrin Cooper. Corners Nate Hobbs, Keyshawn Nixon. Nickel is Javon Bullard. Strong safeties Xavier McKinney. Free safeties Evan Williams. Special teams punter Dan Whelan. Kicker Brandon McManus. Long snappers Matt Orzich. And punt and kick returner is wide receiver Mecole Hardman. Yeah, the Packers are weird.
They are
so strange.
They're one of those teams that you look at them on paper and you're like, this team shouldn't be that good, but they're going to finish the season with a winning record, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, and it's another one of those teams that I'm like, I hate this secondary. Safeties, great. Xavier McKinney is fantastic. Evan Williams going into year 2 should take another step forward. He's now a full-time starter. I don't think he was last year. as a third-round pick. But, yeah, safeties, I like it. Devon Bullard, love him at nickel. Go Dogs, Georgia guy. Corner, I hate. Outside corner. Nate Hobbs and Keyshawn Nixon was a return man last year. He didn't really play defense at all. So I have very much concerns about Keyshawn Nixon being a starting outside corner. Nate Hobbs was pretty good in Vegas. But can he be a number one? I don't know. So that's my biggest concern. Obviously, they're still concerned Lucas Van Ness. I mean, Packers fans have been screaming about Lucas Van Ness for the last 3 years. he hasn't broken out yet, and they're still waiting on him. So that's why they brought in some other guys. But offensively, I think they should be okay still. And it's the defense that I have some concerns, especially in the secondary.
Yeah. And for me, I think the big concern, at least for me, is it is actually on the offensive side to me. It's like, can Matthew Golden can he be wide receiver one? I think you draft him to be wide receiver one. I don't think you want Dobbs or Reed or Watson to be wide receiver one. I think the expectation should be Golden was drafted in the first round. He should be the guy probably this year or by the end of this year. And I don't know that. And I don't want to say I have issues with Jordan Love. I know his weaknesses. And he knows his weaknesses, and the NFL knows his weaknesses. And I don't think they've gotten mitigated enough to make me think he's an upper echelon quarterback in terms of how he's paid. So yeah, and the offensive line I think is okay, not good, not great. I like their tight ends, Kraft and Musgrave. That's a good 1-2 punch. I really like Josh Jacobs, and I really think Lloyd is going to step up this year with the A.J. Dillon walking out. I really believe in him. I think that'd be a good tandem, but those are my issues on offense. Defense, kind of like you said, I like their defensive line. I like their linebackers. That corner room is weird. And if Xavier McKinney is not picking off two passes a game, can this team stifle passing offenses? So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, Marshawn Lloyd, I got him in fantasy. I got him in Dynasty. If he can get on the field, stay on the field, like that's the first hurdle he's got to do.
I believe in him, man. I think this will be the year.
And he also isn't given anything. Emmanuel Wilson has played very well for the Packers, and he is currently in the RB2 spot on our lads depth chart. Mm-hmm. Schedule here. Home against the Lions week 1. Well, I had the Bears beating the Lions week 2. So I cannot, in my right mind, allow the Lions to go 0-2. So I'm going to have Green Bay lose in Green Bay week 1. Commanders week 2, Thursday Night Football. I'm going to have the Packers win. Short week. Commanders got to come all the way out to Wisconsin. I know it's in September, but it's the short week early in the season. It's going to be hot still, right? In Green Bay, maybe. Well, I don't know. Does it ever get hot in Green Bay? They win at the Browns. They're going to lose at the Cowboys Sunday Night Football. I've been down on the Cowboys, and I think I had the Cowboys being like 7-10 or something this year or whatever. But the fact of the matter, we just talked 5 minutes about the freaking corners, and they got to go up against a really good wide receiver tandem in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So that's so 2-2 for Packers going into the week 5 bye. They're if they can't cover CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, they ain't going to cover Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So that's a loss. against the Bengals. They do win at the Cardinals. Luckily for them, they only have to cover one guy. So they had the linebackers to cover McBride. So everyone in the secondary, all you got to do is worry about Marvin Harrison. I'm gonna have them lose at the Steelers. You knew that was coming.
All right.
A-Rod's not gonna lose that one.
He's not. No,
No, he's not.
he's
Not in Pittsburgh. They win against the Panthers. Home against the Eagles, Monday Night Football. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL. Win at the Giants. I'm gonna have actually, I don't know. You talked about Jordan Love against this. Yeah, I'm gonna have the Vikings sweep the Packers.
Oh.
They win at the Lions Thanksgiving. They split with the Bears, so I have them winning at home, losing at the Broncos, lose at Chicago, home against the Ravens. The Ravens are a better team. And then I have Vikings sweeping them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang, I did not expect to be this down on Green Bay, but 7 and 10, man. It's a schedule, and
that back half of the schedule is pretty.
And
rough.
it's the secondary, the corners, the teams that they got to play in their cross divisional stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they play the AFC North, so you don't really have a ton of receivers that are a problem, except for Cincinnati. And I have them going 1 and 3 in the AFC North because the Steelers and the Ravens, what are you going to get from them? Hard-nosed defensive football.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget Ravens also have a very solid wide receiving duo of Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
You can't stick up your nose against those guys.
Yeah.
I think they're a very underrated duo. So, yeah, I don't think you're far off. I could go through my schedule now. I also have them losing against the Lions. Lions demolished them last year in Lambeau, and I don't see any difference this year.
I was there.
Yeah, I do remember that. I have them beating the Commanders. I mean, actually, yeah, I'll have them beat the Commanders at home, beat the Browns. But I have them beating the Cowboys. I just think the Cowboys defense, I really think that it's going to take a step back, 3-1. I have them beating the Bengals 4-1. I don't like the Bengals defense. So 4-1, beat the Cardinals 5-1, beat the Steelers 6-1, beat the Panthers 7-1. And now we're thinking, holy shit, going to the Super Bowl. But I have a collapse. It's bold, but I have a collapse because the only game they're going to win the rest of the way is Week 11 against the Giants. They're going to finish the season 8-9. I think this team gets swept in the division. They went 1-5 last year in the division and only missed being swept because of a blocked kick against the Bears. They were that close to losing to the division 0-6. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were. I mean, look at week 12 through 18 against the Vikings, Lions, against the Bears, against the Broncos, against the Bears again on the road, against the Ravens, against the Vikings again on the road. I don't believe in this team down the stretch. So 8-9, real bad collapse back half of the season. And if they don't take advantage of a pretty winnable front half of the schedule, this could be rough.
Yeah, I would throw the Eagles in week 10, just the complete second half.
Yeah, the only winnable game to me is week 11 in that back half.
Yeah. It's just I always look at defense, and it's like, yeah. Even that's the thing though. Even the Giants defensively.
Fantastic.
Are solid. Like you got Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns coming off the edge.
Mhm.
Then you got some young players in the secondary that have played pretty well so far in their careers. All right. So that's wild that I have the Bears better than the Packers. You had the Bears one worse than the Packers.
Mm.
To your Vikings, Jimmy. Offensively, you got J.J. McCarthy, running backs Aaron Jones Sr. and Jordan Mason, fullback C.J. Ham, wide receivers Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, tight end T.J. Hawkinson, left tackle Christian Darrisaw, left guard Donovan Jackson, the first rounder, center Ryan Kelly, right guard Will Fries, right tackle Brian O'Neill. Defensively, nose tackle Harrison Phillips, D ends Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, outside linebackers Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. Inside linebackers, Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr. Corners, Isaiah Rogers, Jeff Okuda. Nickel is Byron Murphy Jr. Strong safety, Josh Metellus. Free safety, Harrison Smith. Special teams, punter Ryan Wright. Kicker, Will Riker. Long snapper, Andrew DePaula. Punt returners, wide receiver, Jalen Naylor. Kick returner is corner Isaiah Rogers. Secondary sucks, dude.
Yeah, I'm worried about the secondary. I'm kind of surprised they haven't made a call to a guy like Asante Samuel Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he could fit in. I get that for Flores, it's very much the system, not the player. And I do think he believes in his idea to reinvigorate a guy like Jeff Okuda, but I'll believe it when I see it. But there are a couple guys they really like. Theo Jackson is a guy that really stands out to me. They're getting Mekhi Blackman back, which Flores really likes Mekhi Blackman. He's lengthy, he's fast. I think he could keep up with even the fastest guys. And their safety room is fantastic. Harrison Smith probably in this last year of his career. Hopefully he can win something in those last year. I'm a Viking fan, so I'm not gonna pretend it's realistic. Let's be honest. But you also have Josh Metellus, the jack of all trades, master of basically everything on this defense. And offensively, everything's fantastic except the quarterback. And the only reason I'm not saying it's fantastic at the quarterback room, because I don't know. It's essentially a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who I have a ton of respect and ton of belief with, even with what looks like to be some struggles in training camp. Like Brian Flores is not giving a fuck when it comes to J.J. McCarthy, and he's telling him, like, I'm beating the shit out of you, and iron sharpens iron, which I respect. But yeah, I believe in this team. I really just hope JJ is at least an average young quarterback. And if he is, I think this team could compete for the division and compete for a decent playoff run. But it really is up to him. But I believe in guys like Josh McCown and Kevin O'Connell, to get this, and Wade Phillips to get this young quarterback, to do well. Because Kevin O'Connell, he's a QB whisperer. What can I say?
Yeah. You can go. It's your team. You can go on your schedule first.
All right, I'll start. I have them going 5-0 to start. I really don't see a losable game in the beginning of the season. I know Monday Night Football against the Bears. I think that's a question mark. You said it was a coin flip. I just think the established Flores defense is just going to stifle the young Bears offense that's still trying to find its feet under Ben Johnson's system. Falcons Sunday Night Football at home. Michael Penix, again, another young quarterback that I think Flores is going to frustrate and freak out. Bengals, as much as their wide receivers should do well against their corners, like I mentioned when I was talking about them against the Packers, I don't like their defense. I think the Vikings defense could do well against them. I know it's just Steelers. I know it's in Dublin, but Vikings do well when they invade the English Islands. So thanks for getting my joke. And then coming back, beating the Browns on the road, I think they could do that. Week 6 bye. They're going to come out of the bye. It's going to be a struggle. I have them going 0-3 out of the bye, so they're going to be 5-3. But I think they can pull one off against the Ravens, 6-3. Win against the Bears, 7-3. Win against the Packers, 8-3. I think they're going to lose against Seattle, I really respect Seattle this year, especially on the road. I know we beat them on the road last year, and this is going to be a Sam Darnold rematch game. But a rookie quarterback in Seattle, it's such a tough. We could talk to John all day. It's such a tough place for a young quarterback to play in, and they have a really good defense, so I believe in them. So what does that put them? 8-4. 8-4. I have them. I'm gonna have them lose to Commanders 8-5. I think the Commanders are gonna do well, but I do have the Vikings sweeping the rest of the season to make them 12-5. I do believe in JJ. I really think this team should reach double digits. I don't think, other than weeks 7 through 10, I don't think there's a stretch where this team can get, is going to get bogged down. I think this team can really, especially early in the season. I think early season especially for JJ, going against the defenses like the Bears, who I think probably in the first 5 weeks will probably be the best defense they see. The Falcons, good pieces. I don't think they have it put together. Bengals really don't have it put together. Steelers, a lot of good players. I think just a little too old at certain positions. And then Browns are the Browns. 12-5. I think this team will do pretty well.
Yeah, I'm lower, a little bit lower than that. What did you have in the division there?
I had them losing to the Lions, and I think it's 5-1.
Okay.
Lions on the road week 9 is their only division loss.
Gotcha. Yeah, so like I said, I was a little bit lower. Back half I like a lot better than the front half. Like I said, I have them losing in Chicago, Monday Night Football. It's just it's a tough spot for JJ. First start of his career on the road, division opponent, good defense. So I have them losing that one, but they bounced back with 2 wins against the Falcons, Sunday Night Football, against the Bengals. I do have them winning that one despite the receivers. I think Flo's really going to frustrate Joe Burrow and get to him because despite what the Bengals try to do every year, they still have never figured out the offensive line. So, and the Vikings added to the defensive front this offseason. So they should get pressure on Joe Burrow quite often, that one. Of course, they're going to lose the Steelers in Dublin. You cannot beat the Rooneys in their home field. So, no, they're not going to win that one. They win at the Browns, go in the bye 3-2. They're like, all right, come out. They lose 2. Lose against the Eagles at home, lose at the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. So they're sitting at 3-4. It's a precarious position because you're right around the trade deadline at 3-4. You don't know if you're a buyer, you don't know if you're a seller. But they win at the Lions. I do have them winning at the Lions week 9. Then they lose another one at home against the Ravens week 10. So they're sitting at 4-5. And this is where they go on a run. Win at home against the Bears. They win at the Packers. They win at Seattle. They lose at home against the Commanders. They win at the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football. Win at the Giants. They lose to the Lions on Christmas. Sorry, Jimmy. Not going to be
Christmas is ruined.
Not gonna be a happy Christmas. And then they win at home against the Packers, probably to get in the playoffs at 10-7 in the NFC.
What's that put them 10-7?
Yeah, 10-7, 4-2 in division.
I like that.
Sweep the Packers, split the Bears and the Lions.
All right. I can take that.
All right, to those aforementioned Lions here. 15-2, number 1 seed last year in the NFC. Offensively, quarterback Jared Goff, running backs Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, wide receivers Tim Patrick, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tight end is Sam Laporta. Left tackle Taylor Decker, left guard Christian Mahogany. Center is Graham Glasgow. Right guard is Tate Ratledge, rookie third rounder this year. Right tackle is Panay Sewell. Defensively, you got nose tackle DJ Reader, defensive tackle Aleem McNeil, defensive ends Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport, linebackers Alex Anzalone and Jack Campbell, corners Tyrion Arnold and DJ Reed, nickel is Amik Robertson, strong safeties Brian Branch, free safety is Kirby Joseph, special teams punter Jack Fox, um, kicker Jake Bates, long snapper Hogan Hatton, and punt and kick returners wide receiver Khalif Raymond. What do you think of the Lions roster there?
I think I've mentioned this before. I kind of alluded to it at the top of the show. I like their starters. I worry about their depth just all around. And I really do worry about that coaching staff. I mean, I believe Dan Campbell is a great motivator, and he's a guy players will fight to the death for. The question about, is he a strategist? Is he a general? Like, is he a field general? Can he do it? In my opinion, remains to be seen. I'm not going to call him a Ben Johnson merchant, but the team got significantly better when guys like Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson were in his coaching staff, and he needs to prove, at least I think everyone thinks, he needs to prove that he can bring in coordinators that replace the guys that he had, and he can show, the NFL that he's still got a great roster. I think this team is still going to compete for the division. The roster is good enough to do that. But I think the biggest thing for the Lions is, hey, clock's ticking. You got a lot of young guys that are going to get pay raises. Aiden Hutchinson, I think for me, a big question mark in terms of his leg and in terms of his next contract. I worry about his effectiveness. That was a pretty gruesome injury, and I think we've seen a couple of his offseason workout, videos and how he's doing, and you can see he's still kind of okay, getting there. So progress is progress, but I think if you're the Lions, I'm not saying you're looking at this year like, oh, we got to win or we're going to sell off. But you really got to look at this year as like, okay, this team's going to go, this team's got to make tough decisions based on this year's performances when it comes, not only to the players, but even coaching staff. This will be the season where they go, okay, were we, okay, I don't want to say flukes. Did we miss our window, or is it still open? That's a big question this year for the Lions.
Yeah, it's defensively still for me there's a lot of questions. They still didn't go get Aiden Hutchinson some help on the outside. And the secondary is still not that great. DJ Reed has to step up, and Arnold has to not hold people. All right, let's go to the schedule. What you thinking for Detroit this year?
Let's see. I have 2-0 to start. I think they do well against Green Bay. I think even with the new coaching staff, they're facing two teams that they've beaten up in the last couple of years, and the Bears, despite I really like their roster, I mentioned when we were talking about the Bears, they're still going to be in the figure it out stage that early. They're going to lose against the Ravens Monday Night Football, but turn around and win 2 in a row against the Browns and Bengals. They're going to be 4-1. I have them losing to the Chiefs in Sunday Night Football, and then I have them losing to the Buccaneers Monday Night Football. Buccaneers, man, I think they have their number. There's just something. They beat them last year, and I think a lot of teams kind of realize. I think that was the first time I think a lot of people after that Bucs loss where they went, ooh, they're vulnerable. So they're going to go into the bye 5-3. Not a lot of questions about if they're a good team, but I think there's going to be a few murmurs here and there about like, okay, is this team good enough like they were last year when they're 15-2? Because at this point, they've had more losses than they did all last year. But they're going to come out of bye, beat the Vikings at home, 6-3, beat the Commanders on the road, 7-3. But I have them losing to the Eagles. They have a lot of tough road opponents. And that puts them at 7-4. Turn around, win the next 3 so that's going to put them at 10-4. Lose to the Rams 10-5. Beat the Steelers 11-5. No, I know 10-5. Yeah, lose to the Vikings 10-6. Beat the Bears 11-6. And the reason I had them winning against the Bears was because at that point division's still up for grabs. But I do have the Vikings taking it 12-5. Lions 11-6. I think I had the Lions going 4-2, sweeping the Bears and the Packers, but getting swept by the Vikings.
Yeah. Wait, what was it?
4-2. 11-6, 4-2 division.
Gotcha. Well, I'm probably close to that. Yeah. Just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with a couple of these games here. So yeah, I have them winning week 1 and week 2 at the Packers, home against the Bears. Losing at the Ravens, Monday Night Football, win against the Browns, lose at the Bengals, lose at the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. They win at home against the Bucks, Monday Night Football. So they're going in 4-3 into the bye. Lose at home against the Vikings. Win at the Commanders, lose at the Eagles, Sunday Night Football. They win at home against the Giants. They lose at home against the Packers on Thanksgiving. They win at home against the Cowboys, Thursday Night Football. Lose at the Rams. They win at home against the Steelers. Win at the Vikings on Christmas. And they win at the Bears. So it is 10-7.
Wait a minute. I think you had the Bears winning week 18. I think you did have the Bears winning.
Yeah.
I think I want to circle back on that.
Yeah, I did. Then I got to give them another win somewhere else.
I would give it to them in week 15 against the Rams.
Yeah, I don't remember what the other division for the Packers I had. Packers, I had the Lions splitting, yeah. So I guess it has to be. Actually, I'll have them win the yeah, I guess so. That's fine.
That was the one
I was gonna say Bengals, but I don't think the secondary can cover. I think it's gonna be a shootout, and I think the Bengals are gonna win. But regardless, 10-7, and it is I believe 3-3 in division. Yeah.
So I would give the Vikings a division for you because
correct.
4-2. Yeah, all right, nice, cool.
Correct.
A little subtle foreshadowing of your jersey choice, and then the people.
Yeah. So yeah, I got the Vikes winning at 10-7, 4-2. Detroit 10-7, 3-3. And then it's the Bears for me at 8-9, 3-3. And then the Packers at the bottom, 7-10, 2-4. Yeah. And you got the Vikings at 12-5. It's not a homer pick at all. Not a homer.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm very unbiased.
You got Detroit in second at 11-6, 4-2. You got the Packers in third at 8-9, 0-6. And then you got the Bears at the bottom, 7-10, 2-4. So something ain't right because the Vikings would have to go 6-0, or the Packers would have to go 1-5. But it's fine.
I must have missed something.
I'm not gonna put division records on the graphics. So
I had the Vikings losing to the Lions on the road.
Yeah, so that is how we see the NFC North. And it's time for me to roll through 17 ACC teams, Jimmy. What a
Have
joy.
fun, because I know nothing about these guys. So I'm going to hop off. Have a good night. Good luck with the ACC. Go Tar Heels, I guess. I don't know. I like their basketball team. I guess go with that.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, man. So let's start off with the team that finished last, a ridiculous 2-10, 1-7 in conference play. Florida State Seminoles last year. Losses: quarterback Luke Cromanhoke went to Mississippi State. Quarterback DJ Uyunglele is in the NFL with the Chargers. Running back Lawrence Toafili is on the Jets. Wide receiver Malik Benson went to Oregon. Wide receiver Hakeem Williams went to Colorado. Wide receiver Ja'Kai Douglas left for the NFL. And interior offensive lineman TJ Ferguson went to Syracuse. Defensive tackle Josh Farmer, drafted by the Patriots. Edge rusher Patrick Payton went to LSU. Edge Marvin Jones Jr. to Oklahoma. Linebacker Cam Riley is on the Patriots. Corner Azariah Thomas, drafted by the Jets. Corner Fentrell Cypress is on the Commanders. Corner Kevin Knowles is on the Chiefs. Kicker Ryan Fitzgerald is on the Panthers. Returning for Florida State, quarterback Brock Glenn, running backs Cam Davis, Roydell Williams, Samuel Singleton Jr. as your kick returner. Wide receiver LaWayne McCoy as your punt returner. Tight end Landon Thomas. Guard Richie Leonard IV. Defensive tackle Darrell Jackson Jr. Defensive tackle KJ Sampson. Linebacker Blake Nicholson. Corner Jabril Rawls. Corner Earl Little Jr. Safety Shaheem Brown and KJ Kirkland. And kicker Jake Weinberg. Big time transfer class here for Florida State. Quarterback Tommy Castellanos comes in from Boston College. Running back Gavin Sawchuk from Oklahoma. Wide receiver Deuce Robinson from USC. Wide receiver Squirrel White from Tennessee. Wide receiver Gavin Blackwell from North Carolina. Wide receiver Javon Boggs is a freshman. Tight end Marqueston Douglas from Arizona State. Tight end Randy Pittman Jr. from UCF. Offensive tackle Micah Pettis from Ole Miss. Offensive tackle Gunnar Hansen from Vanderbilt. Interior offensive lineman Luke Pettibon from Wake Forest. Interior O-line Adrian Medley from UCF. Interior D-line Jason Jenkins from Tennessee. Interior D-line Diamante Diggs from Coastal Carolina. Interior D-line Deontay McCray from Western Kentucky. Interior D-line Kevin Wynn is a freshman. Edge rusher James Williams from Nebraska. Linebackers Elijah Herring from Memphis and Stephon Thompson from Nebraska. Corner Jeremiah Wilson from Houston and punter Ethan Post is a true freshman. Big time there. Schedule. Here we go. I have Florida State losing against Alabama week 1. Week 2, they win against East Texas A&M. Week 3, bye. They win at home against Kent State. They win, I think, at Virginia on a Friday. 3-1. They lose at home against Miami. I'm going to have them lose at home against Pitt as well. They win at Stanford. Week 9, bye there. I think they can win against Wake Forest. They lose at Clemson. I'm going to have them lose against Virginia Tech. They win at NC State on a Friday, and they lose at Florida. So that puts them at 6-6 for me. I know it's probably not what Florida State fans are looking for after a really bad season. This team has a lot of transfers. They lost a lot of production. They're getting really solid players, but this schedule is no joke either. And the ACC got better, I can tell you that. Clemson is a dominant force. I think Virginia Tech, Brent Pryde coaches those guys up well. Kyron Drones in year 2 as a starter. Alabama's always going to be an issue. Non-conference play there. Florida, non-conference play as well. I think the Gators have a really strong roster this year as well. Miami, obviously, is a top contender. And the sleeper there is Pitt. It's in Tallahassee, but I'm telling you, the Pitt Panthers are going to be good this year, people. I'm telling you right now. Pitt Panthers, watch out for them. 6-6, and it is 2-2 out of conference. So that means it is a 4-4 conference record for the Florida State Seminoles there. To the Stanford Cardinal, 3-9, 2-6 last year in conference. Losses: quarterback Ashton Daniels went to Auburn, quarterback Justin Lamson to Montana State, wide receiver Emmett Mosley to Texas, wide receiver Tiger Bachmeier to BYU, wide receiver Alec A.O. Manor, drafted by the Titans, wide receiver Ismail Cease to Arkansas. Defensive tackle Tobin Phillips is gone to the league. Edge rusher David Bailey went to Texas Tech. Linebacker Gathan Bernadelle and linebacker Tristan Sinclair both gone to the NFL. Returning, quarterback Elijah Brown, running backs Micah Ford, Chris Davis Jr., and Cedric Irvin, tight end Sam Roush, edge rusher Tevarua Tafidi, corners Colin Wright and Aaron Morris, safeties Scotty Edwards, Mitch Liegber, punter Aiden Flintoft, and kicker Emmett Kenny. Transfers. Well, first off, they have a new head coach. It's interim head coach Frank Reich, former Panthers head coach in 2023. They got quarterback Dylan Risk from UCF, quarterback Bengal Branson from Oregon State, wide receivers David Pantelis from Yale, CJ Williams from Wisconsin, Jordan Onavuge from Colorado, freshman wide receiver John Anthony Hall, South Carolina State wide receiver Caden High, they got tight end Brendan Doyle from Memphis, offensive tackle Nicky Prongos from UCLA, offensive tackle Kai Greer from Georgia Tech, interior O-lineman Nathan Mejia from Sacramento State, interior O-lineman Nick Fatigue from Texas Tech, linebacker Hunter Barth from Cal, linebacker Zach Johnson from Idaho, corner Jordan Washington from Dartmouth, and corner Braylon Thompson from Yale. The schedule here, it's another iffy one, I would say, for Stanford. I still don't think they're going to be that good. Lost a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball. So let's see what we got. I haven't looked at Hawaii yet, so I'm not sure. I'm going to give Stanford the win. I know that's a tough road trip to go to the island, but I'm going to give Stanford the win at Hawaii there. That's in week 0. So they get 3 byes this year, actually. At BYU, BYU's not going to be as good without Jake Retzlaff, but I am going to give the win to the Cougars still because it's in Provo. At home against Boston College, and have them lose that one. Lose at Virginia. It's a long road trip. It's a tough one, but I think they can beat San Jose State. Week 6 bye. At SMU, they lose. They are going to lose against Florida State. They lose at Miami, lose against Pittsburgh, lose at North Carolina. Week 12 bye. I'm going to have them upset Cal in the game and lose to Notre Dame. So 3-9 once again for the Stanford Cardinal. it's another tough season, I think, on the farm, but I still think that Coach Reich's got a tough road ahead there. 3-9, and that is 1-7 conference record. Yeah. So they go 2. Yeah, they go 2-2 in non-conference play there. Wake Forest, Demon Deacs, 4-8 last year, 2-6 in conference. Losses, head coach Dave Clawson. Quarterback Mitch Griffiths went to Texas Tech. Quarterback Hank Bachmeier went to the NFL. Wide receiver Horatio Fields to Auburn. Wide receiver Deuce Alexander to Ole Miss. Wide receiver Taylor Morin is on the Eagles. Wide receiver Donovan Green went to Virginia Tech. Interior O-lineman Luke Pettibon went to Florida State. D-tackle Kevin Pointer to the NFL. Edge rusher Jasheen Davis is on the Saints. Linebacker Branson Combs is on the Jags. Corner Jamari Glasker went to Maryland. Corner Cedarius Kelly and safety Evan Slocum, both in the league. Returning, running backs Damon Claiborne and Tate Carney. Edge rusher BJ Williams. Linebackers Dylan Hazen and Quincy Bryant. Safeties Nick Anderson and Devon Patterson. Kicker Matthew Dennis. Transfers and additions. Head coach Jake Dickert comes in from Washington State. They got quarterback Deshaun Purdy from Charlotte, quarterback Robbie Ashford from South Carolina, wide receiver Sterling Burkhalter from Cincinnati, Karate Brenson from Tennessee State, Sawyer Racanelli from Montana, Carlos Hernandez from Washington State, Chris Barnes from Washington State as well as the punt returner. Tight end Eni Falai from Utah Tech. Offensive tackle Fa'alili Fa'omo from Washington State. Offensive tackle Melvin Siani from Temple. Interior O-lineman Roderick Tialavea from Washington State, also from Wazoo. Interior O-line Devin Kylani. Interior O-line J. Marion Kennedy from Louisiana Tech. Interior O-line Jacob Dennison from Ohio. Interior D-line Jaden Lovin from Western Kentucky. Interior D-line Dallas Afalava from Idaho. Edge rusher Gabe Kershke from Colorado State. Edge Newer Gatquoth from Colorado State. Edge Langston Hardy from UConn. Linebacker Alec Marenko from Kansas State. Corners Ladarius Webb Jr. from South Alabama. Ashad Williams from North Alabama. Corona Prunty from North Carolina A&T. Sasha Garcia from William & Mary. Safety Braylon Johnson from Virginia Tech. And freshman punter Rohan McNeil. So a ton of additions for this Wake Forest squad here. Let's get into the schedule. They win at home against Kennesaw State on a Friday to start out. They win at home against Western Carolina. Week 2, they lose, I think, at home against NC State on a Thursday. Week 3. Week 4, bye. Week 5, Georgia Tech. They lose at Virginia Tech. I'm going to have a win at Oregon State. Week 8 bye. They lose against SMU. They lose at Florida State. And have them win at Virginia. They lose at home against North Carolina. They win at home against Delaware. And have them lose at Duke. So 1-win improvement here. 5-7 for Wake Forest in Dickert's first year there. And they went 4-0 in non-conference play. So that means it's a 1-7. 5-7, 1-7 in conference for the Demon Deacons. Cal, the Golden Bears here, 6-7 last year, 2-6 in conference play. They lost quarterback Fernando Mendoza to Indiana, quarterback Chandler Rogers to the NFL, running backs Jaden Ott to Oklahoma, Byron Cardwell Jr. to San Diego State, running back Kadarius Callaway to New Mexico State. Wide receiver Naziah Hunter to Nebraska. Wide receiver Tobias Merriweather to Utah. Wide receivers Mikey Matthews and Javian Thomas to UCLA. Wide receiver Jonathan Brady to Indiana. Tight end Jack Endries to Texas. Edge rusher Xavier Carlton to the Bears. Linebacker Teddy Buchanan, drafted by the Ravens. Linebacker David Reese is in the NFL. Corner Noel Williams to the Chiefs. Corner Marcus Harris to the Titans. Corner Lou Mejia Hearns in the NFL. Safety Craig Woodson, drafted by the Patriots. Safety Miles Williams in the NFL. Kicker Ryan Coe is on the Bucks. Returning, not a ton. Quarterback C.J. Harris, wide receiver Tron Grizel, linebacker Kedu Luavu, and kicker Derek Morris. So, yeah, it's slim pickings there for returning guys. If you are the Cal Golden Bears here. Transfers, they got a ton, just like they lost. Quarterback Jaron Kiawe Segapolutele from Oregon. Quarterback Devin Brown from Ohio State. Running backs Kendrick Raphael from NC State. L.J. Johnson Jr. from SMU. Brandon Hyde Jr. from UTSA. Wide receivers Mark Hamper from Wisconsin. Dasmond James, Arkansas. Jacob DeJesus from UNLV. Quayron Adams from South Dakota. Tight end Landon Morris from Temple. Offensive tackle Leon Bell from Mississippi State. Interior O-line Tyson Ruffins from Nevada. Interior O-line Jordan Spasajevich Moko from Charlotte. Interior O-line Lamar Robinson from Georgia State. Interior O-line Lawan Owens from New Mexico. Interior D-line Tyson Ford from Notre Dame. Interior D-line Zay Smith from Houston Christian. Edge rushers TJ Bush Jr. from Liberty. Chris Victor from Chattanooga. Jaden Wayne from Washington. Linebacker Harrison Taggart from BYU. Linebacker Bloom Jock from Colorado State. Corners Hezekiah Massis from FIU. Brent Austin from USF. Freshman Jayon Young. Safeties Drew Polidor Jr. from Montana State. Tristan Dunn from Washington. Jordan Sanford from Texas Tech. Punter Michael Kern from Texas. Kicker Chase Meyer from Penn State. So, can these Cal Golden Bears transfers get it together here? I think they can win at Oregon State. They win at home against Texas Southern. I'm going to have them lose against Minnesota. They win at San Diego State. Long trip for Cal, so I'm going to have them lose at Boston College. I think they squeak one out against Duke. Week 7 bye. Week 8 home against North Carolina on a Friday. I'm going to have them upset the Tar Heels there at Virginia Tech on a Friday. They lose that one. They win at home against Virginia. They lose at Louisville. Week 12 bye. I did have them losing at Stanford. I'm sure. And they lose at home against SMU. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They go 6-6 just like last year. And they are 2-2 outside of conference play. So 4-4 in conference play. That is a upgrade there from 2-6 last year, though. The North Carolina Tar Heels here, 6-7, 3-5 in conference. Losses: quarterback Connor Harrell to Charlotte, quarterback Jacoby Criswell to East Tennessee State, quarterback Michael Merdinger to Liberty. Running back Omarion Hampton, drafted by the Chargers. Wide receivers J.J. Jones to the Jags, Nate McCollum to the Seahawks, tight end John Copenhaver to the Jags, offensive tackle Howard Sampson, Texas Tech, interior D-line Travis Shaw to Texas, defensive tackle Javari Ritzy to the Patriots, edge rushers Bo Atkinson to Ohio State, Kamon Rucker to the Ravens, Desmond Evans to the Titans, linebacker Amari Campbell to Penn State, linebacker Power Eccles is on the Bears. Corner Elijah Huzzy is on the Texans. Safety Antavius Lane and safety Jakeem Harris are both in the NFL. Kicker Noah Burnett went to Notre Dame. Returning, quarterback Max Johnson, running back Davion Gauss, wide receiver Toby Pacehour, tight end Jake Johnson, offensive tackle Trevion Green, center Austin Blask, corner Caleb Koff, safety Marcus Allen, punter Tom McGinnis. Transfers and additions a ton. New head coach Bill Belichick, quarterbacks Gio Lopez from South Alabama, freshman Bryce Baker, running back Benjamin Hall from Michigan, wide receivers Isaiah Johnson from Michigan State, freshman Adrian Wilson, tight end Jordan Owens, Oklahoma State, Shamar Easter from Arkansas, offensive tackles Willow Steen from Jacksonville State, Miles McVay from Alabama, William Boone from Prairie View A&M, guards Daniel King from Troy, Chad Lindbergh from Rice, Ja'Kai Moore from South Carolina, center Christo Kelly from Holy Cross, interior defensive lineman Deontre Robinson from Florida, CJ Mims from East Carolina, Isaiah Johnson from Arizona, edge rushers Price Yates from UConn, Smithville Bear, Penn State, Melkart Abu Joud from Delaware, Joseph Mupoyi from Penn State, linebackers Kamori House from Washington, Andrew Simpson from Boise State, Mekhi Gabair from Missouri, corner Thaddeus Dixon from Washington, safeties Gavin Gibson, ECU, Coleman Bryson from Minnesota, Greg Smith from Florida, kicker Reese Verhoff from Marshall. Interesting start to the year here. Home against TCU on a Monday. I think they win that one. They win at Charlotte, and they win at home against Richmond. I am going to have them lose at UCF. UCF always seems to be pretty good. Week 5 bye. They lose at home against Clemson. Week 7 bye. I had them losing at Cal on a Friday, upset Central there. They win at home against Virginia. I'm going to have them lose in the Dome on a Friday at Syracuse. They win at home against Stanford. They win at Wake Forest. They win at home against Duke. And I'm going to have a win at NC State to end the year for 8-4 in Bill Belichick's first year here. And that is going to be, I think I had them going 3-1 in non-conference play. So that means 5-3 in conference. Pretty solid for year one under Coach Belichick. Virginia Cavaliers next, 5-7, 3-5. Losses: quarterback Anthony Calandria went to UNLV. Quarterback Tony Muskett is gone. Running back Kobe Pace is gone. Wide receiver Malachi Fields to Notre Dame. Wide receiver Chris Tyree is on the Saints. Tight end Tyler Neville is on the Cowboys. Edge rusher Cam Butler. Corners Kempton Shine and Kendron Smith all gone, as is safety Corey Thomas Jr. Safety Jonas Senker is on the Saints. Key returning running backs Xavier Brown, Noah Vaughn, wide receiver Trell Harris, linebackers Cam Robinson and Trey McDonald, corner Jam Jackson, safety Antonio Clary, punter Daniel Sparks, kicker Will Bettridge. Transfers: quarterbacks Chandler Morris from North Texas, Daniel Kalin from Nebraska, running backs Jamari Taylor from NC Central, Harrison Whaley from Wyoming, wide receivers Jamal Edrine from Purdue, Jaden Thomas from Notre Dame, Cam Ross is your kick returner from James Madison. Offensive tackles, David Wollabaugh Jr. from Syracuse, Wallace Unamba from Kentucky, Mikhailin Thomas from Arkansas State, Monroe Mills from Louisville, guard Kevin Wigginton from Illinois, center Brady Wilson from UAB, interior D-line Jacob Holmes from Fresno State, edge rushers Kazim Moore from Elon and Mitchell Melton from Ohio State, Fisher Kamak from UNLV, linebacker Maddox Marcellus from Eastern Kentucky, corners Keenan Johnson from Utah, Jordan Robinson from Cincinnati, Jason Prevard from Morgan State, Emmanuel Carnley from Miami, safeties Devin Neal from Louisville, Christian Charles from Tennessee. All right, for Virginia, I'm going to have them win at home against Coastal Carolina. They lose at NC State. They win at home against William and Mary. They win at home against Stanford. They lose at home against Florida State on a Friday. They lose at Louisville. Week 7 bye. They're going to lose at home against Washington State, lose at North Carolina, lose at Cal. They win it against Wake Forest. I think I had them losing against Wake Forest. They lose at Duke. Week 13 bye, and they lose against Virginia Tech. That's a bad season. They're 3-9. I just don't believe in the quarterback play for the Volunteers, and it is a it is a 2-2 record outside of conference play. Yeah. So it's 1-7 in conference for Virginia. Pitt is my sleeper, people. I'm telling you right now, Pitt is a sleeper. 7-6 last year, 3-5. Quarterback Nate Yarnell went to Texas State. Running backs Rodney Hammond Jr. to Sacramento State. Daniel Carter is gone. Wide receiver Kanata Mumpfield is on the Rams. Tight end Gavin Bartholomew drafted by the Vikings. Edge rushers Sincere Edwards to UCF. Edge Nate Matlack is gone. Linebacker Brandon George is on the Chiefs. Safety Donovan McMillan is on the Browns. Kicker Ben Sauls is on the Steelers. Returning. This is why I like them. They return one of the better quarterbacks in the conference. Quarterbacks Eli Holstein and David Lynch. Running back Desmond Reed. Wide receivers Kenny Johnson, Raphael Williams Jr. Tight end Jake Overman. Offensive tackle Ryan Baer. Guard BJ Williams. Center Lyndon Cooper. Edge Jimmy Scott. Linebacker Kyle Lewis. Linebacker Rasheem Biles. Linebacker Braylon Lovelace. Corner Rashad Battle. Corner Taman Lynham, punter Caleb Junko. Transfers. That's where I really like them. Quarterback Cole Gonzalez from Western Carolina. Wide receivers Deuce Spann from Florida State. Kataris Hicks from Louisville. Offensive tackle Jeff Percy from Michigan. Guard Kendall Stanley from Charlotte. Guard Keith Goivea from Richmond. Edge rusher Jaden Moore from Oregon. Edge Blaine Spires from Utah State. Edge Joey Zielinski from Eastern Michigan. Linebacker Jaden Bonsu from Ohio State. Corner Rashawn Murray from Cal, Pennsylvania. D2 corner Zion Ferguson from North Carolina. Safety Kavir Baines Marquez from UC Davis. Kicker James London from Murray State. So, yeah, I really like Pitt this year. I'm telling you right now. They win against Duquesne, win against Central Michigan. They win at West Virginia in the backyard brawl. Week 4 bye. I think they win at home against Louisville. They win at home against Boston College. I can't remember if I had them beating Florida State or not. I'll have them lose that one. They lose in the Dome at Syracuse. They win against NC State, win at Stanford. Week 11 bye. They lose against Notre Dame. I think they lose at Georgia Tech, though, and they lose at home against Miami. So 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm actually going to have them shock Miami and get Miami a late loss, just like they did last year. I am going to have Pitt Panthers go 8-4 this year. Not anything crazy, but they do go 3-1 in non-conference play, so that makes it a 5-3 conference record for Coach Narduzzi's squad. NC State, the Wolfpack, 6-7 last year, 3-5 in conference. Losses: quarterback Grayson McCall went to coaching. Running back Jordan Waters is on the Rams. Running back Kendrick Raphael went to Cal. Wide receivers Casey Concepcion, Texas A&M. Dakari Collins to Louisville. Interior D-line Red Hibbler to Mississippi State. Edge rusher Davin Vann is in the NFL. Corner Brandon Cease went to South Carolina. Corner Aiden White is on the Jags. Safety Tamarcus Cooley went to LSU. Safety DK Kaufman is on the Seahawks. Safety Bishop Fitzgerald went to USC. Returning for NC State, quarterback CJ Bailey, running back Hollywood Smothers, wide receivers Noah Rogers and Wesley Grimes, tight end Justin Jolie, offensive tackle Jacarius Peak, guards Anthony Carter Jr. and Val Erickson, edge rusher Travali Price, linebackers Sean Brown, Devin Betty, Kamal Bonner, corner Devin Marshall, punter Caden Noonkester, and kicker Kanoa Vincent. Transfers: freshman wide receiver Teddy Hoffman, Utah State offensive tackle Teague Anderson, NCANT guard Brock Stukes, Purdue center Jalen Grant, freshman center Spike Souls, Temple edge Trey Thomas, Utah State edge Cyan Sloan, Northwestern linebacker Kenny Soares, Norfolk State linebacker AJ Richardson, Temple corner Jamel Johnson, Georgia State safety JJ Johnson. Wyoming edge Sebastian Harsh, Texas Tech edge Joseph Adedire. All right, let's go to the schedule here. They win at home against East Carolina on a Thursday to open up. They win at home against Virginia, at Wake Forest. I'm going to have them lose that one on a Thursday. They lose at Duke. I'm going to have them win against Virginia Tech. They win at home against Campbell, lose at Notre Dame. Week 8 bye, lose at Pitt. They're going to lose at home against Georgia Tech. Week 11 bye, lose at Miami. I think I had them losing against Florida State on a Friday, and they lost at home against North Carolina. I'm going to have them beat Florida State, I guess, actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 here for me for NC State. It's just tough. I'm not really sure about CJ Bailey this year. And non-conference play, they go looks like 2-2. Yeah, I'm not sure where their other non-conferences. ECU, Campbell, Notre Dame. Yeah, I'm not sure. So 2-2 non-conference, and so that's 3-5 in conference play here. Boston College 7-6, 4-4 losses. Quarterback Tommy Castellanos to Florida State. Running back Kai Robichaux is on the Lions. Running back Trayshawn Ward is gone. Wide receiver Duran Bradley went to Kansas State. Wide receiver Jaden McGowan went to Charlotte. Tight end Kamari Morales gone. D tackle Cam Horsley is on the Titans. Edge rusher Donovan Ezeraku went to the Cowboys in the draft. Returning BC quarterback Grayson James. Running back Jordan McDonald. Wide receivers Lewis Bond and Reed Harris. Tight end Jeremiah Franklin. Offensive tackle Jude Bowery. Guards Logan Taylor, Dwayne Aulick. Edge rusher Quintavious Hutchins. Linebacker Davion Crouch. Corner Amari Jackson. Defensive back Carter Davis. Safety KP Price. Kickers Liam Connor and Luca Lombardo. Not a lot of transfers in for BC and Bill O'Brien there. Quarterback Dylan Lonergan from Alabama. Running back Vaughn Pemberton from Ball State. Wide receiver VJ Wilkins from Campbell. Tight end Ty Lockwood from Alabama. Guard Amir Johnson from Merrimack. Center Tommy Matheson from Princeton. Edge rusher Anye Nwosisi from Valparaiso. Safety Omarion Davis, the freshman. And punter Seamus Florio from Yale. Schedule here for the Eagles. Win at home against Fordham. They win at Michigan State. That's a tough one, but I think they may have the stones to do it. They win at Stanford. Week 4 bye. I'm going to have them win at home against Cal. At Pitt, they lose. They lose at home against Clemson. Win at home against UConn. Lose at Louisville. Lose at home against Notre Dame. Lose at home against SMU. Lose at home against Georgia Tech. Week 13 bye. Lose at Syracuse. Tough end to the year. 5-7 for me once again for Boston College, I think. And that is a 3-1, so 2-6 in conference. Let's go to the Virginia Tech Hokies here. 6-7 last year, 4-4 for Brent Pry's squad. Losses, a lot of them. Quarterback Colin Schlee is on the Commanders. Running back Bashal Tootin, drafted by the Jags. Wide receiver Steven Gosnell is on the Bills. Wide receiver Jalen Lane, drafted by Washington Commanders. Wide receiver Ollie Jennings is gone. Wide receiver Daquan Felton, drafted by the Giants. Offensive tackle Xavier Chaplin went to Auburn. Interior O-line Braylon Moore is on LSU. Interior D-line Wilfried Penne to the Patriots. D-tackle Anais Peebles, drafted by the Ravens. Edge rusher Antoine Powell-Ryland, drafted by the Eagles. Linebackers Keontae Jenkins is on the Bills. Sam Brunfield went to Memphis. Corner Mansour Delaney went to LSU. Corner Dorian Strong, drafted by the Bills. Safety Mose Phillips III is on Missouri. Safety Jalen Jones is on the Chargers. Key returning, not a ton. Quarterbacks Kyron Drones and William Watson III. Running back Jeremiah Coney. Tight end Benji Gosnell. Off tackle Johnny Garrett. Guard Brody Meadows. Linebackers Jaden Keller and Caleb Woodson. Punter Nick Veltsistas. Kicker John Love. Transfers, a lot of them. Quarterback Garrett Rangel from Oklahoma State. Running backs Tyrion Stewart from Bowling Green. Braden Bennett from Coastal Carolina. Wide receivers Donovan Green from Wake Forest. Cameron Selden, Tennessee. Isaiah Spencer, Jackson State. Offensive tackles Thomas Rymek from West Virginia. Jaden Muskrat from Auburn. Guard Lucas Austin from West Virginia. Center Kyle Altuner from West Virginia. Interior D-line Emmanuel Hickman Sr., USF. Edge rusher Ben Bell from Texas State. Edge James Jonkam from Eastern Michigan. Linebacker Michael Short from North Carolina. Corners Isaiah Brown Murray from ECU. Caleb Brown from Hawaii. Christian Ellis from New Mexico. Safeties Tyson Flowers from Rice. Jordan Bass from Pitt. Sherrod Coville from Clemson. All right, starting off at South Carolina. It's a neutral site game on a Sunday in Atlanta. They're going to lose that one. They're going to lose at home against Vanderbilt. They're going to win at home against Old Dominion, win at home against Wofford. They lose at NC State, win at home against Wake Forest. They lose at Georgia Tech. Week 8 bye. They win at home against Cal on a Friday. I'm going to have them beat Louisville. Week 11 bye at Florida State. They're going to lose that one. Lose at home against Miami, and they win at Virginia. So it is a 7-5 here. Or no, 6-6. Yeah, 6-6 for me and the Virginia Tech Hokies here. And it is a 2-2 non-conference. So that means 4-4 in conference play. same as last year. Duke Blue Devils 9-4, 5-3 last year. Quarterbacks Malik Murphy went to Oregon State. Grayson Loftus to Charlotte. Running back Star Thomas to Tennessee. Wide receiver Jordan Moore is on the Bengals. Wide receiver Eli Penkol is on the Jags. Tight end Nikki Dalmaline is gone. Linebackers Ozzie Nicholas, Alex Howard, Cameron Bergeron are gone. Corner Joshua Pickett's on the Broncos. Safety Jalen Stinson is gone. Returning, quarterback Henry Bellin IV. Running backs Peyton Jones, Jaquez Moore. Wide receivers Quayshawn Brown, Samir Higgins. Offensive tackles Bruno Fina and Brian Parker II. Guard Justin Pickett. Center Matt Craycraft. Edge Wesley Williams. Edge Vincent Anthony Jr., linebacker Trey Freeman, corner Chandler Rivers, safety Terry Moore, kicker Todd Polino. Incoming transfers, quarterback Darian Mensah from Tulane, wide receivers Andrew Anthony from Oklahoma, Cooper Barkate from Harvard. Freshman wide receiver Jamian Little, tight end Landon King from Utah, guard Jordan Larson, South Dakota. Defense tackle Josiah Green from Dartmouth, corner Jaden Francois from Utah State. Safety Caleb Weaver from Sam Houston State. Duke schedule here, home against Elon on a Thursday, week 1. They win that one. They lose at home against Illinois. They're going to win at Tulane. Darian Mensah revenge game there. I think I had them winning against NC State, lose at Syracuse, lose at Cal. Week 7 bye. They're going to lose at home against Georgia Tech. I really like the Yellow Jackets this year. Week 9 bye, lose at Clemson, win at UConn, win at home against Virginia, lose at North Carolina, and then win at home against Wake Forest. 6-6 for Duke for me, and it is a 3-1, so that's going to be a 3-5 conference record. Georgia Tech, again, I like this team this year, 7-6, 5-3 in conference last year. Losses, quarterback Zach Pyron, South Alabama, running back Trey Cooley from Troy, wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. went to Auburn, wide receiver Avery Bond is gone, wide receiver Chase Lane is on the Giants, offensive tackle Corey Robinson II went to Arkansas, edge Romello Height went to Texas Tech, edge Sylvain Yanjun is on the Panthers, linebacker Trenilius Tatum, corner Warren Burrell are both gone. Defensive back Saeed Gibbs went to Kansas. Returning, this is why I like them. Quarterbacks Haynes King and Aaron Philo. Running backs Jamal Haynes, Chad Alexander. Wide receivers Malik Rutherford, Bailey Stockton. Tight end Brett Seether. Offensive tackle Ethan McKinney. Guards Joe Fusail and Keelan Rutledge. Interior D-line Jordan Vandenberg. Linebacker Kyle Eford, corner Amari Harvey, defensive backs Omar Daniels and Rodney Shelley, safety Clayton Powell-Lee, and kicker Aiden Burr. Transfers, they got a big class this year for Brent Key's squad. Running back Malachi Hosley from Penn, wide receivers Eric Rivers and Dean Patterson from FIU, wide receiver Rakeem Smith from Bowling Green, offensive tackles Will Reed from Princeton, Malachi Carney from South Alabama, freshman guard Kevin P.A., junior interior D-line Matthew Alexander from UCF, Akello Stone from Ole Miss, edge AJ Hoffler from Clemson, Ronald Triplett from UTSA, Braden Manley from Mercer, linebacker Melvin Jordan IV from Oregon State, corners Jai Gilmore from Georgia State, Kelvin Hill from UAB, Daquan White from Eastern Michigan, safety Savion Riley from Colorado, freshman safety Tay Harris, punter Marshall Nichols from UNLV. Schedule sets up for Georgia Tech here at Colorado on a Friday. I don't think Colorado is going to be as good this year, so they win that one. They win at home against Gardner-Webb, lose at home against Clemson. They win at home against Temple. They win at Wake Forest, week 6 bye. They win at home against Virginia Tech. They win at Duke. I'm going to have them lose a shocker against Syracuse. They win at NC State, week 11 bye. They win at Boston College. They lose at home against Pitt. They lose at home against Georgia on Black Friday. It's an 8-4 record for me. And it is a 3-1 conference record, so 5 non-conference, so 5-3 in conference. Louisville, the Cardinals, 9-4 last year, 5-3 in conference play here. Losses: quarterback Harrison Bailey from Florida went to Florida. Quarterback Tyler Shuff drafted by the Saints. Running backs Maurice Turner to Tulane. Donald Chaney Jr. to Charlotte. Wide receivers Ja'Cory Brooks to the Commanders. Amari Huggins Bruce is gone. Tight end Jamari Johnson went to Oregon. Tight end Mark Redmond to the Rams. Offensive tackle Monroe Mills to Virginia. Defensive tackle Jared Dawson to Notre Dame. Defensive tackle Ramon Puryear is gone. Edge Mason Rieger to Wisconsin. Ashton Gelati to the Chiefs. Termel Logan is gone. Corner Quincy Riley to the Saints. Corey Thornton to the Panthers. Safeties MJ Griffin, Tamarian McDonald are gone, as is kicker Brock Travelstead. Returning running backs Isaac Brown, Duke Watson, Keywan Brown. Wide receivers Chris Bell, Colin Lacey. Guards Lance Robinson, Rasheed Miller. Center Pete Nigra. Linebackers TJ Quinn, Stanquan Clark. Defensive back Tayon Holloway. Safety D'Angelo Hutchinson. Transfers. Quarterback Miller Moss from USC. Wide receivers Dakari Collins, NC State. Trayshawn Hurry from San Jose State. Bobby Golden from Akron. Off tackles Mykylan Pounders from Mississippi State. Muhammad Musa from Purdue. Guards Jordan Church from FAU. Nair Jackson from FIU. Interior D-line Jerry Lawson, Abilene Christian. Denzel Lowry from Old Dominion. Edge rushers Wesley Bailey from Rutgers. Clev Lubin from Coastal Carolina. Justin Beatles from New Mexico State. Linebacker Caleb Perry from Tennessee. Corners Rodney Johnson from Southern. Justin Agu from Louisiana. Jabari Mack from Jacksonville State. Safeties Joseph Jefferson, Western Michigan. JoJo Evans, FIU. Corey Gordon from Baylor. Schedule here for Louisville. They win at home against Eastern Kentucky. Win at home against James Madison on a Friday. Week 3 bye. They win at home against Bowling Green. Lose at Pitt. They win at home against Virginia. Week 7 bye. Lose at Miami on a Friday. Win at home against Boston College. They lose at Virginia Tech. Win at home against Cal. They lose at home against Clemson on a Friday. Lose at SMU. And I'm going to have them lose at home against Kentucky. So 6-6 for Louisville. And that is a 3-1 non-conference, so 3-5 in conference for the Cardinals. Syracuse 10-3 last year, 5-3 conference record. Losses, quarterbacks Carlos Del Rio Wilson went to Marshall. Kyle McCord drafted by the Eagles. Running back LaQuint Allen is on the Jags. Wide receiver Trevor Pena to Penn State. Jackson Meeks is on the Lions. Tight end Aronde Gadsden is on the Chargers. Interior O-line Jayonre Reed went to USC. Interior D-line Murad Watson to Texas. Edge Fadil Diggs is on the Saints. Linebacker Justin Barron is on the Cowboys. Linebacker Marlo Wax is on the Chargers. Corner Clarence Lewis is on the Titans. Safety Elijah Clark is on the Cowboys. And kicker Brady Denneberg went to Minnesota. Returning for Syracuse, the Orange here. Running back Yassine Willis. Wide receiver Darrell Gill Jr. Offensive tackle Demetrius Weatherspoon. Linebacker Derek McDonald. Corner Jaden Bellamy. Defensive backs Deuce Chestnut and Devin Grant. Punter Jack Stonehouse. Kickers Jackson Kennedy and Jaden O. Transfers, quarterback Steve Angeli from Notre Dame. Ricky Collins from LSU. Wide receivers Jonte Cook from Washington. Tyshawn Russell from South Carolina. Offensive tackle Cam Pringle, also from South Carolina. Guards Zach Rice from North Carolina. TJ Ferguson from Florida State. Freshman Byron Washington. Center Austin Collins from Louisville. Freshman Khalil Stewart. Interior D-line, Chris Thomas from Marshall. George Rooks from Boston College. Edge rusher David Reese from Cal. Linebackers Gary Bryant III from South Dakota. Freshman Antoine Delorier. Freshman corner Demetrius Samuel Jr. And Georgia corner Chris Peel. Syracuse at Tennessee and Atlanta to start. They lose that one. They win at home against UConn. Win at home against Colgate on a Friday. Lose at Clemson. They win at home against Duke. Lose at SMU. Week 7 bye. I had Syracuse beating Pitt, I believe. They lose at Georgia Tech. Win at home against North Carolina on a Friday. They lose at Miami. Week 12 bye. Lose at Notre Dame. Win at home against Boston College. This is a tough schedule. They have to play all the big boys: Miami, Clemson, SMU, and Notre Dame. So 6-6 for me. I know it's a lot of 6-6, but that's what college football is nowadays. 500 ball. Non-conference, they went 2-2, so 4-4 in conference play. Miami Hurricanes 10-3 last year, 6-2 in conference. Losses: quarterbacks Reese Poffenbarger to North Texas, Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick, to the Titans. Running backs AJ Allen to FIU, Damian Martinez to the Seahawks. Wide receivers Isaiah Horton to Alabama, Xavier Restrepo to the Titans, Jacoby George to the Panthers, Sam Brown Jr. to the Packers, tight end Elijah Arroyo to the Seahawks, edge rushers Tyler Barron to the Jets, Simeon Barrow Jr. to the Falcons, linebacker Francisco Mauigoa to the Jets, corner Darrell Porter Jr. to the Bills, safety Jaden Harris to the Georgia, safety Michael Powell to the Vikings, kicker Andy Borregales to the Patriots. Returning: quarterback Emory Williams, running backs Mark Fletcher Jr., Jordan Lyle, offensive tackles Markel Bell, Francis Mauigoa, guards Ryan Rodriguez and Inez Cooper, interior D-line Akeem Mesidor, linebackers Wesley Basanthi, Cam Pruitt, defensive back OJ Frederick Jr., punter Dylan Joyce. A lot of transfers here for the Canes. Quarterback Carson Beck from Georgia, running back Shamar Brown, North Dakota State, wide receivers Keelan Marion, BYU, CJ Daniels, LSU, Tony Johnson from Cincinnati, tight end Alex Bauman from Tulane, centers James Brockermeyer, TCU, freshman Seuseu Alofaituli, interior D-line David Blade Jr., Louisiana Tech, freshman Dante Simpson, linebackers Mohamed Toure from Rutgers, Kamal Bonner from North Carolina State, corners Xavier Lucas from Wisconsin, Keontae Scott from Houston, Ethan O'Connor, Washington State, Charles Brantley from Michigan State, safety Zechariah Poyser, Jacksonville State, Jacoby Thomas, Tennessee, and kicker Bert Auburn from Texas. Big time showdown to start the year, home against Notre Dame on a Sunday. I'm going to have them win. They win at home against Bethune-Cookman, win at home against USF. They win at home against Florida, week 5 bye. Win at Florida State, week 7 bye. Win at home against Louisville on a Friday. They win at home against Stanford. They're going to lose on the road at SMU. They win at home against Syracuse, win at home against NC State, win at Virginia Tech, and they lose the big one they cannot afford to lose at the end at Pitt to drop them to 10-2. And it is a 2-loss conference slate, so 6-2 means they probably miss out on the ACC championship once again. Clemson 10-4 last year, 7-1 in conference play. Losses: running back Phil Maffa to the Cowboys, wide receiver Troy Stellato to Kentucky, tight end Jake Brinkstall to the Chiefs, interior D-line Trey Williams to Michigan, linebacker Barrett Carter to the Bengals, safety RJ Mickens to the Chargers. They barely lost anything. They return a ton. Quarterback Cade Klubnik, quarterback Christian Vizina, running back Jay Haynes, wide receivers Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco Jr., TJ Moore, offensive tackles Tristan Lee and Blake Miller, guards Harris Sewell, Walker Parks, center Ryan Linthicum, edge TJ Parker, linebackers Wade Woodaz, Sammy Brown, corners Avion Terrell, Jaden Lucas, safety Khalil Barnes, punter Jack Smith, kicker Nolan Hauser. Transfers, not a ton. Dabo doesn't do that. Freshman running back Gideon Davidson, Illinois State wide receiver Tristan Smith, freshman offensive tackle Braden Jacobs, Purdue edge Will Helt, and Alabama linebacker Jeremiah Alexander. Very difficult game to start, but I think they win it at home against LSU. They win at home against Troy, at Georgia Tech. It's a very difficult game, but I think they win. I think they win against Syracuse, week 5 bye, win at North Carolina, win at home against Boston College. The big one is they win at home against SMU because it's at home, week 9 bye, win at home against Duke, win at home against Florida State, win at Louisville on a Friday, win at home against Furman. They will drop the one at the end to South Carolina. It's not going to be determinative of their CFP bid, though. 11-1. That is 8-0 in conference play. 11-1, 11-3, 8-0 last year for SMU. ACC champs in their first year in the conference. Losses: quarterback Preston Stone to Northwestern, running backs L.J. Johnson Jr. to Cal, Jalen Knight to West Virginia, Brashard Smith to the Chiefs. Wide receiver Roderick Daniels is gone. Keyshawn Smith to the Raiders, Moochie Dixon to the Saints. Defensive tackle Jared Harrison Hunt to the Panthers. Edge rushers Elijah Roberts to the Bucks, Jafari Harvey to the Raiders. Linebackers Kobe Wilson and Ahmad Walker are gone. Corner Brandon Crossley's on the Patriots. Safety Jonathan McGill is gone. Returning quarterback Kevin Jennings, wide receiver Jordan Hudson, tight ends R.J. Maryland and Matthew Hibner, offensive tackles Savion Bird and P.J. Williams, guard Logan Parr, edge rusher Isaiah Smith, corner Deuce Harmon, safety Isaiah Nwokobia, safety Ahmad Moses, and kicker Colin Rogers. Pretty good transfer class. Quarterback Tyler Van Dyke from Wisconsin. Running backs TJ Harden, UCLA. Chris Johnson Jr. is your punt and kick returner from Miami. Wide receivers Ymir Knight from James Madison. Freshman Jalen Cooper and Dalen Singleton. Colorado State Dylan Goffney. Offensive tackle Zion Nelson from Miami. Guard Addison Nichols from Arkansas. Center Joshua Bates from Oklahoma. Interior D-line Jeffrey Embaugh from Purdue. Terry Webb, Texas State. DeMarge Lewis from Purdue. Edge rusher Ja'Kai Lang from Missouri. Linebackers Zakai Barker, East Carolina. Nikhil Washington, South Alabama. Corner Marcellus Barnes Jr. from Syracuse. Punter Ryan Collins from Cal Poly. Big time schedule here for SMU. They win at home against East Texas A&M. Win at home against Baylor. Win at Missouri State. They win at TCU. Week 5 bye. They win at home against Syracuse. Win at home against Stanford. They are going to lose at Clemson. Win at Wake Forest. Win at home against Miami, I believe. Yeah. Win at Boston College. Week 12 bye. They win at home against Louisville. Win at Cal. And that is a 11-1 back-to-back. And it is a one-loss conference record. 7-1. So, once again, I have Clemson, SMU. SMU, really, it's just their schedule. They don't play a very hard schedule in terms of the top, right? They have to play Miami and Clemson, but they get Miami at home. So I think if they can go 1-1 in those, I think they should be able to beat everyone else because their road games otherwise are not very difficult. Missouri State, TCU, maybe a little bit. It's a pretty far trip to Boston College up there. But in the Cal game, maybe at the end, but I don't know. I think SMU and Clemson Clemson definitely. I think Clemson wins the ACC. That Clemson has the best roster. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and Cade Klubnik. Defensively, they're stout. They have very young. They have young and experienced skill position players as well. So I think Clemson wins the ACC this year. And that is the show for today. Thank y'all for watching. 2 hours in. It's preseason week 1 next week. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast. And we will see y'all back for Football Friday next week. Preseason week 1, Big Ten season preview. And on Monday, check out the NFC West season preview and the Big 12. We'll see you then.